business doing. I don't know what. Okay. The prophet Zephaniah, I studied a long time ago when we studied the minor prophets at my school. And so I may have some difficulties, so I think if we all work together, we'll learn this lesson and see basically who he was. So, but for sure, he, as a prophet, he warned the day of judgment in his own time. But he also prophesied a sweeping global administration of divine judgment. That kind of made me think about today when it says administration. Because I was looking at TV and they had the news or a documentary. I don't really remember which one it was. And it made me think about Irvin when he didn't like President Obama because he said he was an antichrist. I'm not going to call him an antichrist. I'm just going to say that I was disappointed the whole time he's been in office because of the stand that he took for the gay population, because he fought for rights for them. And so that's the one of the things that I didn't care for him. But he was bragging, I guess you could say bragging, I don't know another word to use, about the things that he accomplished when he was in office, while he has been in office. And one of the things struck me, everything that he said struck me, it was okay, except for when he got to, the transgender and gay rights and all that stuff. So that just made me kind of sad, but I'm not the one to judge him. That'll be God, the Lord, to judge him. So that just kind of, it's kind of took me back as and President. I don't want to get on the tangent of him not doing anything for black folks, because he really didn't. I mean, he did a little bit here and a little bit there, but that's a political arraignment. But I was very just sad that that's what he did. Not only did he do it, Martin Luther King's wife did. She was an advocate for the gay population. But anyway, as a messenger, what is a messenger?
Somebody bring a message of importance.
Somebody bring
period. Not to get report, that's a message.
a message, okay. It could be good or it could be bad, okay. So we know that he warned and he was a messenger. Now, did I see your hand?
No.
Okay. So therefore, as we go on, Jesus provided an unmistakable warning regarding the final day. So we already have been warned.
Amen.
And it says, of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So we don't know when it's going to happen, because Jesus don't know, but God does, the Father. And you can refer to Matthew 24:36. Now, we know that there's no date. We can't go look at the calendar that we can save a day like we would do for a wedding. So we know nobody don't know when. We had the one pastor, the minister, that said he did know. He can't been calculating, right, based on certain things, but we know that it's not true. So then a better word of advice comes from Peter on the day of Pentecost. What does it say? Save yourselves from the untoward generation. Now, who is Zephaniah? What is he best known for? And where did he come from? And who was his great-great-grandfather? Oh,
Well, you got it on the board. Cush and Hezekiah. Cushai and Hezekiah.
yes. So his great-great-grandfather was Hezekiah, and his father, and it says bearing the name Zephaniah is the son of Cushi. What is it pronounced? You have scholars.
It's Cushai.
Cushai?
It's Cushai,
Okay.
yeah.
And we see his grandfather. So, and he prophesied in the day of Josiah, the king of Judah, and was contemporary with Jeremiah, with whom he had much in common. So we know that Jeremiah was a what?
He was a prophet.
He was a prophet as well. Okay. So now, primary source from which we obtain scanty knowledge of personality and radical literary qualities of individual is a short book of the Old Testament which bears his name. So it's a short book. So.
Don't go
that's
nowhere, don't go
really
nowhere,
background.
don't go nowhere.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you leave that there for, I have a question. Put it back on that slide.
Okay,
Because
what's
I
your
want to ask you a
question?
question. Well, once you go back, okay. When, on the first one, that middle one there, you said, he prophesied in the days of Josiah, the king of Judah, who was contemporary with Jeremiah. Explain the contemporary with Jeremiah.
The way I see that is the fact that they had something in common. Jeremiah was a prophet. He was a minor prophet. And he also warned the people as well. That's what the prophets did. They tell, and they tell what's going to come and what God has told them to tell us. That's what I mean by that. Okay. Let's pull our Bibles out. Good morning, Ms. Brennan and Amaya. Let's pull our Bibles out. If you don't have a Bible, it's on the board, but I think everybody in here knows to bring their Bible. Maddie, do you have your Bible? Okay, have your granny show you where Zephaniah is, chapter 3, and be prepared to read verse 3. Okay? So your grandmother's going to pull it out. Zephaniah 3:3. Amaya, do you have your Bible? Get one from your auntie. So that's what your auntie, so you can read 4. I want you to read 4. So Arthur, would you read 1 and 2? Let me know when you guys have your Bibles out. Maggie, you have yours? And we have some Bibles in the back, Arthur, so give Amaya a Bible before we leave today. Did you hear me, Shandall?
Amaya ought to have a Bible.
Well, she doesn't have it with her.
If you go to church every Sunday, you ought to have a Bible.
Well,
If you go to church, you ought to have a Bible.
well, this ain't the time to be fussing. We're in class.
I'm not fussing, I'm just telling you the truth.
Okay, so I want you to read 1 and 2.
Now she can use mine.
Okay, you know by heart 1 and 2. You're gonna read it from the board.
Who, me?
Yes.
No, I'm going to read it from the book. I got it.
All right.
Okay. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. She obeyed not the voice. She received not correction. She trusted not in the Lord. She drew not near to her God.
Miss Maddie, stand up.
Her friends within her are
Roaring.
roaring lion, where
No, her.
her
Judges.
judges are
Evening wolves.
evening wolves, not
Is that on your Bible, honey? Although,
See from here, over there?
look up on the board. Can you see the board?
Number 3.
Number 3? Okay, go ahead. Start all over again.
her friends within her are roaring lion and judges.
No, there's no and.
Her judges are evening wolves.
They gnaw. They gnaw.
They gnaw not the bones till the morning, till the
You said it right. Okay, Amaya. Number 4,
Her
prophet.
prophets are like in
Treacherous.
Her prophets have priests have
Polluted.
polluted the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law.
Thank you. Brother Olden, would you read 5 and 6 and Sister Joyce 7 and 8?
Five and 6. The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. I have cut off the nation, their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant.
Verse 7, I say, surely thou wilt fear me, thou wilt receive instruction, so their dwelling should not be cut off. However, I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore wait ye upon me, said the Lord, unto the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with fire from my jealousy.
Okay, back to verse 1. Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. Who is her?
Church.
That's the church, okay. What does woe mean?
Not good.
It ain't nothing good. You're finna catch a lot of hell. That's what's been happening. Hold on.
In my country, when they have the policy, you say, whoa, whoa, and then put it.
Oh, yeah,
It's
whoa,
like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
yeah.
Then it's that kind of, it's like a warning, whoa, stop.
It means to pay attention.
Well, pay attention, warning, pay attention, warning. Yeah, pay attention, warning. That means something getting ready to happen.
Like a flashing red light.
That's right.
Last night, I was in the driveway and I looked, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but there was a light behind the clouds. I thought it was the moon, but it wasn't the moon. I looked up, I said, Lord, you ain't getting ready to come, because when the light comes, you're gonna come directly. But it was kind of weird though, because it was kind of flashing. I don't know if it was an airplane or helicopter, but I didn't hear anything. I just saw that it was like a big patch of light that set behind the clouds. So, but that still could be, to me, it could be a warning back, you better get right. So, woe is a word in scripture that often introduces visions of judgment against individuals or a nation. So what nation are we talking about? Who is her? What nation? We know that
Israel.
We're talking about Israel? Could it be anything else? Is it Israel?
Israel and the church today.
Church today? So that's our warning for today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It wouldn't be Jerusalem?
No.
Why?
Well,
Somebody said
No,
no.
no.
So tell me why.
It's not even, when these prophecies are going forth and God is telling you, woe, God is talking to the whole world. He ain't talking to just one specific group of people. It is the whole world that he's talking to, because the world is what is going wrong today. Because the prophecy that Zephaniah is giving is for today's people, not for those people back in those days. Those people are already dead. He's talking about future. This is all future stuff. That's what we have to understand. And so, yeah, he does categorize a specific nation or individuals or nations. But nations with an S doesn't mean just Israel. It means the whole world. Because he says in there, I don't want to jump ahead, so go ahead. I don't want to jump really, that far ahead. But the nations that he's talking about everybody now and back then that taught against what he told us to do.
But so that we'll be clear, you said he wasn't talking to them back then, but he was talking to them, and he's talking to us.
More so us today.
Maybe more so, but he did talk to them, and he's talking to us. And we better heed to what the word says.
Don't.
Throughout the Bible, you read that word, woe, not only in Zephaniah, but throughout Revelation too. When he says woe, it's for everyone, but especially for those that have an ear to hear.
So did you guys hear what she said?
Mhm.
Especially to those that have an ear to hear. Because everybody don't want to accept what the word says.
Amen to that.
They do not. And they have every excuse in the world. In fact, the devil has made them think that what they're doing is right when it's wrong. Pastor?
The Lord's word is always ever present.
Mhm.
So when the Lord was speaking through Zephaniah at that moment, he was speaking to Israel. But the Lord's message rings throughout eternity.
Mhm.
But sometimes the Lord speaks specifically to certain people.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why we need to study the Word of God in context. Right? But in a message like this, which is future, it's not only speaking to them at the time, because Zephaniah was, remember, if the prophet is speaking to you and telling you what God is saying, he's telling you what's coming, especially if it's a woe, like you said, right? So he's telling you, this is coming. But then for us today, it's the same message. It's coming. So it's always not just twofold, but ever present.
So that's why a lot of folks think when it comes to the Old Testament that he was just talking to them. And that's the same thing they said regarding the Sabbath. They said the Sabbath is not for everybody else, it was only for the Jews. So they don't have an ear to hear.
Right.
But that's what they think. And so even when they say that to me, I don't get into a contest with them that I know more than you do and all that. I just said, look at it this way. Let's just go back to I call them the original law, which is the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
I'll just go back to that. So you're saying that all of those are no good, or only 9 of them are no good.
Good.
Then they just look at them, you know. You can't pick and choose what you choose to believe. So, Sister Jones?
You know, Sister Irene, there is one God. That one God came to give humanity one thing. What is that one thing? Salvation. And from Genesis to Revelation, the Bible says all these things were written for our admonition when the ends of the earth will come. So the same message that was back to the Genesis is the same thing we have because the Bible has not changed. And we have to see God give us the gift, humanity, the gift. Yes, he speaks in different period of time upon the different situation, but it doesn't change the word or the power of what he wants to tell us.
So, several decades earlier, Isaiah declared a series of woes. But Jesus, he uttered a series of woes as well, and against the scribes and Pharisees, and you'll see that in Matthew 23. So we can argue, we want to disagree, and all that other stuff, but the word is what it is.
All the time.
The bottom line, whatever, I'm only here to try to teach what I've learned in terms of what the word says. And that's why I said earlier, if there is some corrections, I have no problem with that as long as you are right. Okay, so verse 2, the first half of verse 2, she obeyed not the voice. So how can we look at that today? We already established who she is, obeyed not the voice. How can we look at that today? What are we doing today? Are we actually obeying the voice? Are we obeying what the prophet said back then and today? Are we doing that to this day?
No.
Not in full.
No.
Not in full.
Not in full.
Not in full?
Some.
Okay, all right. Brother Otha?
One of the things that they were doing during the time of Isaiah and Zephaniah, they were worshiping Baal.
Mm-hmm.
And they were sacrificing their children to a false god, Baal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the parallels that's happening today is we sponsor abortion clinics.
That's right.
So I think there is a parallel
It is.
between what they were doing during
Then.
the time of Zephaniah
Mm-hmm.
and what's happening in our time today. So, if truth is the course, what God did to them in that day, we can kind of expect that today unless we repent of what we're doing, because we're doing the same thing that Israel was doing back during the time of Zephaniah.
But in a different way, we're sacrificing them in a different way. Same thing with the foster children. And you guys all know that I'm an advocate for 2 foster little boys. And I can't bring them to church because of the different rules and stuff. But I'm told that I may be able to get around that. If the foster mother chooses to bring them to church, she can do that. So I'm working on that in a sense. But still in all, you would be surprised of the amount of foster kids that are in the foster care system today. And especially in Southern Cal, when you go to court, it's awful. When I walk on each one of those floors to go to court, all I see is black kids. Black kids have been snatched from their parents. I used to sit when I was learning how to deal with, how to learn the system. One of the things that I had to do was go and sit in the courtroom and to see what happens to the kids. And I would say 90% of the time, they separated the kid from the parents. It was justifiable because you're going to leave your kid in the car, you drunk or high, and you walk off and leave your child or your kids in the car for several hours, and then somebody come along and get them. So it's justifiable when you let your boyfriend beat the child. It's justifiable because they treat the girl tried to tell me, the mother of the 2 boys, she's beating my kids and she's doing this, and I'm looking at her like, ain't you the one that just left your kids in the car for several hours and you know where they are, and the police came along and got them? I didn't say that to her, but that's how I was looking at her, But ain't you the one? So,
Did you say parents, or isn't it usually parent? And which is basically the nature of the whole problem or the fix that we find ourselves in. So many of these kids are born to single parents, and the kids end up paying the price, isn't it?
Well, that's true to a certain extent, but it's 2 parents too. So they got those issues with the parents, both of them on drugs, both of them got issues. One beat the other, so it's twofold. You could say maybe 50-60, or 60-40, 40-60, whatever. 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other one. But still in all, that's the way this world is. And they do nothing to try to get their kids back. Nothing. So and they think that the system is wrong. No, you put your kid in the system. You're the one that's caused. So look at yourself first. That's what I wish I could tell them all. Sit them right in here and say, you put your child in. So don't get mad at the system because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So I was a single parent. So you didn't see me going to jail. I just wanted to do right what the Lord wanted me to do. And work and feed them. So I didn't go running up behind nobody to go pay no child support. So, but the Lord blessed me in that area. And I already told you all that story, but my ex didn't want he wanted to, he was a lot older than me, so he went to Social Security and applied for the Social Security. So he told the lady at Social Security, well, she don't need the money because she worked for the IRS making all that money. I need to be able to do what I want to do, right? So the lady said, well, sir, where is the kids? They with their mama. So she said, well, that's where the check is going to go, to the mother. So I didn't know what all had happened. So she sent me a letter, so I went down there, and she gave me an appointment. So when I got the appointment, I went down there. Berlin, before I could go, when I signed my name, I turned around. Andrew was back right here to me, so I don't know how, probably about 9, 8, whatever. Before I could sit down, she said, Irene, Shandall. And I looked around, it was a room full of people. I was kind of ashamed because I'm going before all these people, So when I got back there, she said, she asked me a few questions. So she said, I want you to sign here, and here. And initial there. We'll see how he think about that. So I said, well, he must have came up here acting a nut. So that was that. But, that's the only way. But anyway, back to Zephaniah.
Irene, I'm not trying to throw a wrench in your thing,
Well,
but.
go ahead, because you do it anyway.
But to Kamala Ride on Brother Otha's comment, you said the one thing you had with President Obama was the gay rights issue. He's one of the biggest advocates of baby killing.
Oh, Obama is?
Correct.
So he is for, what do they call it?
Not only he is for abortion.
He's pro-abortion, that's what he's for.
No.
He's pro, you saying he's for it, so then that pro means he's pro,
You mean pro-life?
pro-life is what I'm trying to say, yeah, pro-life. Okay.
But not only that, he's for partial birth abortion.
He's for what?
Partial birth abortion. He's also for Planned Parenthood. Things like that. I don't know how black folks as a community
You know.
could digest to support someone like that.
You know what that is. We saw a black face, and that's all we saw, and we did look, I mean, come on, let's just put it on out there. That's what we saw, okay? And he was able to manipulate the certain things. I don't hate the man, I don't dislike him, I just dislike what he's for. I did not know that, because I got stuck on the gay part. But like Brother Otha was talking about the genocide, it's the same thing. And putting them in the foster care system, the same thing. You're throwing your child away. You're throwing them away. If you ever look at some of those shows, people ain't seen their parents for 30 years, and the parents want to come up and say, you my daddy, or you my mama, or whatever, you know. So it's the same difference. It's the same difference. So the boys, today we're not obeying the word. You may do, like Sister Joyce said, partially, and just because you come to church today, and you go home and do all this other stuff and cuss out everybody and do all those other things, you ain't obeying. So if you break one, you're breaking them all. So, so we have to be careful with that. We have to obey the voice of the Lord. We like Pastor said, we need to study. What does the Bible say about studying? Study to do what? Okay, unto God, okay, and not unto man. You don't need to prove to me what you know. You just talk to the Lord, and He will direct your path. You know. So here's some of the things. Here's a question: what are some ways to address the tragic spiritual condition of the modern cities, and what will be your part in this? So what I'm trying to ask you is, how do we address tragic spiritual conditions of the city as today? What can you do to improve your environment? What can you do to help with spiritually to help? Now we don't pray in schools now. The churches are all about money. So what can you do about that today? What can you do? How can you get involved in what can we do to change our existing ministry that we have here? Anybody? Yes, I just go around the room. Okay, Sonia.
I have to be the person that God calls me to do. To me, I have to be the person that is a witness.
Okay, a witness, that's one. Okay. Sister Joyce?
We have to realize that we are co-laborers together with God. We as we live. And whatever we face, we have to depend on God. I don't know, Father. I don't know. You know. Please instruct me. But I'm telling myself, we can't see her face to face. We don't trust God. And God speaks every day to us. There's different things that are making. So me, I'm so puppet in God's hand. If He said move, I don't have to ask Him where, because He's going to put me where He wants me. So I believe, as believers, we got to reach who we call unbelievers with the love of God and with what God ordains to be like Him.
Okay, Charlie?
I think everything have to first start at home. First start, you have to straighten out the home first. And if you straighten out your home, then it's going to spread from there, because your kids is going to talk about it to the other kids and concerning the Lord. And they're going to talk to the other kids then that is their friend concerning the Lord, and it just keeps on going and going.
Okay.
But it has to start at home first.
Okay. So now we got a witness, we got obeying, and we got starting at home. Sister J?
I would say all of the above, trust and obey,
Okay, we got trust.
and we have to be examples. I tell Cherie, I like to use the word monkey see, monkey do. Whatever she does, her daughter sees it and want to do it. And so she got to, walk straight because people are watching. So you have to be able
I
to.
tell grandmas all the time that, especially at the Bible study fellowship, about 50% or 60%, I gotta go home because I gotta go pick up my grandbaby from school. What? I don't pick up no grandbabies from school. You do? So it's like, that ain't my job, that's your job. You see about your own baby. So,
Just because the manager is not in the office and there is no management early in the morning, it's like a wild party at work. The last thing she told us, behave and don't bring too much food because, they eat all day long. They bring a lot of snacks. And the two things that she asked for us
not to do, they do.
those are the things. I don't get involved with nothing.
That's right.
I just stay and work, and they try to, kind of throw a little line in the back for me to piggyback back, and I just,
Doing the right thing.
I don't partake. And then when, this, someone that's supposed to be watching her, she comes in and then everybody gets quiet and then we get to work. But I
But
tell,
see, you're setting the example. They just ain't paying attention.
I told Madeline the same thing at school. I said, when all the kids are giving the teacher problems, are giving her such a hard time, I said, you don't get involved. You be the example and be quiet. You don't have to partake because everybody is doing the same thing.
Yeah. My little grandson, the little CC, the one that wear the glasses, the one that look more like his mama than all of them. Same thing at school. He's just busy, but I think the boy is brilliant. He's not challenged. So he finished, Aaliyah did the same thing, finished all what he needs to finish, and then he's bothering the other kids, so the teacher gets irritated. And the one thing I asked Shandall, I said, so when little CC tells the teacher that that's not right, that this is right, is he right or is he wrong? She said, Mommy, most of the time he's right and she's wrong, that's why she don't like him, so we found out. But he's not in her class anymore because that's the end of the semester, right? But I said, you have to teach him, the teacher is in charge, not you, you a kid, you need to go sit your little self down. So what I did was, up until he got to the semester was over, I called him every morning and I said, little CC, we're gonna have a good day at school, right? Yes. You're gonna do what the teacher tell you to do, right? If you're gonna end up coming to stay with grandma for a little while, you probably don't want that. Because see, I'll sit in that classroom with you. That's what I had to do with Nicholas. I went up there and surprised him and sit in the classroom because his mama had to work. I'll do that, grandma do. But I ain't babysitting unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, then that's that. And I don't want to get on that tangent, but the reason I don't is because it becomes the grandmother's responsibility. So don't make it your responsibility, grandparents, because it ain't your responsibility. If you want to help, if they are in a bind, that's fine. But I'm tell you, they'll make it your problem after a while. So let's go to the second half. It says she received not correction. So if you try to correct somebody about anything and they just, blow you off, what can you do?
Just move on.
You have to move on. There's nothing you can do. You can try to tell them, what's what. You can do prayer, you can do whatever, but I think it's my job to tell you. So now you can't get up there and holler about, well, my mama didn't tell me, or she didn't say anything to you. You can't blame it on me because this is individual in the first place. My job is to witness, obey the Lord, start with the family, be an example. Okay, Pastor, you.
Same question. You gotta be a living epistle. Not just to say a sermon, but be a sermon. Too many of us just talk the talk and don't walk the walk. And children especially, which flows out from, they used to say charity begins at home. Children, they do what they see their parents do. Right? But you talking a sermon, but they see you doing something else.
You go home and cuss out everybody and drinking beer and doing whatever, Hennessy's and other, you want to go whip out the Bible. Really? Okay. Arthur.
Can you tell me what that got to do with
No,
the
I would
Lord?
like you just to answer the question first, and then I'll answer yours.
I think the biggest thing is nobody teaches anyone to fear God. I think that's the worst thing about it all, of all of this stuff. Nobody fears God. Everybody thinks God is some play toy. Everybody thinks Jesus is just going to come and rapture them off, and they can do whatever they want to do the way they want to do it, and it's okay. Like they got a heaven to put somebody in. Nobody wants to fear God. That is the main issue to me.
Okay,
So.
all right. So we have witness, we have charity starts at home, which is Charlie. We have the example, and we have following what God has to do. And then we have rejection. Brother Open?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
I almost forgot the question myself.
I'm listening to all the comments.
What do you think?
What do you have to do to get involved in the ministry here, our ministry within your home?
Well, there's probably a few things I need to do, probably that I'm not thinking of right now. But for the moment, I kind of go along with what the pastor said. I go along with his comment. Yeah.
Okay.
We should be a walking, living epistle so that people can see our lives more so than just talking. So that would be an area that I would greatly need improving in.
Okay. I think we all do. It's not just you. We all have improvements to do. Because kids see you doing stuff, especially your children and your grandchildren, you know, how you react. They watch you. And then I told you guys this about Bubba. Reed, his daughter, who's just like him, was cussing one of the other little kids out. And everybody on their street know if they came and told Bubba that the kids did something, they were going to get a whooping. Everybody on the street knows. So the kids would almost wait for them to do something, and then they would go tell Mr. Wilson, Reed was out here doing such and such and such. He just automatically whooped them. They wouldn't even ask them what's what, right? So this particular time, this little girl went and told her mother, Sylvia was down there cussing, and she said this and she said that. So the mother came down, Mr. Wilson, Sylvia. So Reed said she was standing there with her arms folded like this, right? And so Bubba came outside, and she was saying, well, Sylvia was, we call Reed Sylvia. I mean Sylvia Reed. And Reed said she was standing there, and she said, the lady told Bubba everything, and Bubba said, I don't know where that girl got all that cussing. Now he cuss them out every day. Cuss words every single day. And Reed said she stood there and said, ain't this about it? And she said, I'm just ready to take this whooping because she said you did a foot like that. Just going to beat me because that's where I got it from was him. But from a little kid up, he set the example. So, but how you gonna whoop her for cussing? And that's what all she ever knew in her life, you know. So, and one time he cussed while I was there. And I told him, I said, if you start cussing, I'm leaving. He was sick then, and he was sick for 3 weeks. And then he said, I ain't gonna cuss the word. I said, no, but you just said a cuss word. So I'll see you in 3 weeks. So, but I was getting ready to get in my car. Reed ran behind me. She said, Bubba said, he said, 3 weeks. And I held it to 3 weeks. I said, now when I came back 3 weeks later, I said, now, are you gonna cuss anymore while I'm here? And he was laying in bed, I'm not. He couldn't help himself though. So Miss Greta, how can we improve our ministry and family?
Everything that everyone has said, and I also think that if you're gonna be, for me, it's always, if you're gonna try to be an effective witness, you know, even if you ask questions or if you're in the middle of a situation or something comes up, like for me, a lot of times at work, people will come up to my desk and they'll, you know, talk about different things or, you know, they have issues in their lives going on or whatever. And if you're gonna be an effective witness, I think that you should, regardless of, you know, tell them the truth, but regardless of, I think I hear you say it all the time, what their denomination is, you wanna tell them the truth, but you also wanna be led by the Lord to speak on whatever it is.
The lights are on the Saturn, excuse me, so when the lights are on the Saturn, we run the battery.
Thanks, Gordon.
Oh, thanks.
Whatever is going on, because a lot of times people don't understand, and, you know, yeah, they ask me about, you know, well, you know, Sunday and the Sabbath and what have you. And I don't think that people should be beat up, but I do think that they should be told the truth, whether they wanna, hear it or not. And a lot of times, like, I experienced this, they'll come up to me and they'll be, well, this one lady, before we even left on the trip, I'll give that example, she came up and she was crying. She had a husband that had some kind of illness going on in his life, she had a daughter that had, you know, something going on, and she was an A student in college and different things going on in her life. And like I said, to me, I always ask the Lord to help me be the effective witness to people. You know, I pray that I will clean up me first before I start trying to tell someone else something. I'm the kind of person, I don't want to try to scold someone about something that I have not yet arrived with yet. So I tell people, you know, pray, read, study the word. You have to have a prayer life so that you'll be able to have that unity with the Lord so you can hear clearly instead of just always wanting someone to try to tell you what to do.
Right.
So
Because
that's,
most people that I speak for myself, if somebody come at me like they a bulldog, I perceive them as being a bulldog, I just throw the wall up, it just goes up. And is that right or wrong? Probably wrong, because maybe I do need to hear it, but I think it's how they come at me. They come at me with this, the most of the time it doesn't happen like that, you know.
Sister Irene, but don't you afterwards in your quietness, don't you reconsider the situation?
Sometimes.
Assess it and say, you know something? Although they hurt my feelings, but they're telling the truth.
Well, if they hurt my feelings and try to, I probably don't want to listen to nothing they say, and I just let it go, and I don't care less. Because I don't think God, when the Holy Spirit tells you, or me, or Ota, or any of us to do something, I think it's going to be received. That's just my thought. But if you come at me like you this big authority and that you know everything, and you way up there on a pedestal and looking down on me trying to tell, no.
But it's for your benefit.
It may be, but it's the way you brought it. You know, a lot of things is good. The devil trying to bring to you, but that's all you see. So the wall goes up. It's like, no, if you think you all that and you know this, that, and the other, and you want, sometimes people, not just me, perceive it as being even a borderline disrespectful. That you think you can come at me wrong. No, if there's something that I need to know, you don't have to come at me, or anybody for that matter, because we have to learn how to accept correction. So.
but you know what happened with this lady since you said that, and then piggybacking on what the pastor said, I had been watching this person since she started at the job, and you know, she had been talking to me here and there and telling me things, and even in the midst of her saying what she said to me that particular day, and she was crying, I began to tell her what the Spirit told me, and it was correction, and it was about her and how she was doing, more so than what was going on.
But you were led by the Holy Spirit.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm
so
saying.
it's a difference. You didn't go to her and say, well, you know, the Holy Spirit told me to tell you.
No.
That's when people like Irene, I'm going to speak for myself, look like, really? So how come he told you and he didn't tell me, right? Because it's, the attitude is how you can, yes, your feelings will get hurt, especially when you know you're wrong, okay? When you know
Well,
you're wrong.
she received it, what I said, because she says, I know it had to be the Spirit tell you, because yes, that's the way I am. And I told her something to do, and the next day, her job was saved, because she was about to lose her job that day. And she was all punny and all jolly and happy, but you know, I'm just saying, sometimes, yeah, our feelings will be hurt, because my brother, he hurts my feelings all the time, but I know how to handle it. And I'm speaking it out because I'm telling the truth. He might not know it, but you know what, it's the truth. And not only him, but I'm saying that if it's right, it's okay with me, because I can hear it and go on, you know, and then I'm going, what you talking about? It's in my head, because I'm going to be going to the Word, seeing what's going on,
Because you just can't tell me anything because you want it to be right or you want it right. So I'm just saying, you know, I never want to be that way with anyone. And so with her, when she was constantly coming up with everything she was telling me, what I'm saying is that I was hearing her, but I wasn't giving her any feedback. Because I want to just tell you something out of my own opinion.
There you go.
You know, I want to pray about the situation.
So, you really touched on what the next slide. No, that's good. She trusts not in the Lord. So a lot of times we don't trust in God. So it doesn't draw us to Him because we don't trust in Him. Okay, so her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bone till the morrow. That just kind of went over my head a little bit and it came back. So what is this verse 3 saying? Hello?
It's-
Somebody here from us?
It's talking about, it is pertinent for today. It's talking about the leaders, right? Her princes are within her are like roaring lions. But the her here, we gotta, and I know it's easy for us to equate the princes with the government and the leadership of the country. But the her part is always God is addressing His church. So now princes, along with the church, you gotta deal with the leadership in the church.
Okay.
All right, and
So my question is, which I agree 100%. So is there corruption in the church today?
that's what it says. Says her judges are evening wolves.
Okay. You guys all heard about the case where the young man raped a little girl, and he only got 6 months. That's corruption. Because he was affiliated with that school. He was on the board, or some board or another that he was on. So her prophets are light and treacherous persons. What does that mean?
Yeah, just don't trust them, they're evil.
So prophets should what? They should speak God's what?
Word.
Okay, and His
And
truth,
Holy Ghost.
right? Okay, but these men don't do that. Even today, they don't really speak the word. Most of those guys that speak today are talking about money. They're talking about money and positive living. Joel Osteen, I have yet to hear him scripturally speak. Now, maybe I missed it because I stopped looking at it. But, and I can name a few other ones, but it's all about the almighty dollar. At first, years and years and years and years ago, their pitch was, we need money to stay on the air. Well, now it became, we need money to put my dog, build him a dog house with the air conditioning. You know who else did that besides Jan? You guys remember that? Well, I don't know, some of you guys. What was their name? Gosh, I can't think of his name.
The Bakers?
The Bakers, yeah.
Jim Baker.
Yeah, Tammy Baker, yeah. She had a house with an air conditioner for her dog. Jan did the same thing, you know. So.
You know she just started.
Yeah, no, she passed away. Sonia.
Sister Irene, you know, in 2, 3, and 4, is she and her used interchangeably has the same meaning?
Okay, Berlin, just go ahead.
Because in 2, it all starts with she obeyed, she's received, she trusted, and then in 3 says her princesses. So it's all her, and then it says she. Is it used interchangeably?
Of course.
Same.
In the same process of a sentence.
Okay, so her prince have polluted the sanctuary. We already talked about that. So we already know that's being done today. In addition to prayer, what can we do when leaders fail to carry out their responsibilities? What can we do? Lead the church?
Just love them and do
Just
the
love
Just love them in Jesus.
Call him out.
Call him out?
No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I agree with
They're
that.
not gonna do that.
So,
They're too
because
scared.
one thing we
They're
don't
too
be
scared.
ostracized is not, it just ain't gonna happen.
They don't wanna judge him.
Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna ask the question, you know, you say call them out. So now, if you know a person did something to another person that was actually just visiting in the sanctuary, and that person told someone in the sanctuary that pastor did something to them, should you confront the pastor about it?
Yeah, so you should.
Respect the office.
No.
Who, what'd you look at me for?
No,
Sister
I'm
Greta.
just saying, remember when I told you that happened?
Yeah, I understand, but the thing about it is though, and just let me say this for you, the majority of these people that go to church, they know the pastor is standing up there lying to them. They do it on a weekly basis. They know these people are lying to them. But they ain't gonna say nothing to them because they enjoy that. They got itching ears, they telling them what they want to hear, they gonna go back every week and do the same
But that person
thing.
doesn't go to that church.
It doesn't matter.
That person just visiting.
Sister Greta, Sister Irene, if I may. The way how we operate here, if you believe I said something that is not biblical, you have the right to come to me and tell me, I don't believe that's biblical, and we'll talk about it. And if you don't get no satisfaction, you have the right to bring it to other members of the church and bring it openly to the church.
That's what the word says.
Your
But
life,
see, I think-
you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You might die tomorrow, so don't wait. Don't wait. You might,
I have to agree with Arthur though, on those churches that don't, they already know what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's not right.
They know
They
it.
already know. I mean, they already know that he has a girlfriend up there. and
Thank you.
girlfriend over there. They know all that. They already know he slept with so-and-so and now he slept with this one.
But
They
this
already
person
know.
didn't know that, and that's why I was asking the question. And I was told, well, you should have brought it to him, but you know, it's like,
Yeah, and then if you do in some churches, like Pastor said, in this church, and the difference is in this church, if he says something wrong, he wants us to call him on it.
You
And
respect
that church, are those other ones that I can think of, if you say something to them, you're ostracized.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well stop and go to the church.
yeah, because they're reverend, the pastor, the reverend,
Because
the
they're
pastor.
reverends the pastor. That's why I don't call them reverend so-and-so.
Yeah.
They're not reverends to me, so
They feel themselves too big and do a little if you can't chastise them.
okay, we did that one. Okay, Arthur?
I just wanted to say something, and just so everybody can hear me. You know, we see a lot of people, you know, a lot of preachers preaching in the church today. But one thing that people don't get is, I look at Moses, and I look at the prophets and all of these people in the Bible. When God called these people to do a job, he equipped them with what they needed in order to lead his people. A lot of the people that we listen to today, especially preachers, you can tell that these people are not called by God because they teaching everything that is not in the Bible.
Okay, so so really what's happening is that they are being equipped by the enemy.
The enemy, yeah, that's what it is.